Before beginning installation of the waterproof tanking membrane, check you have all the parts necessary to complete the job and that all the working surfaces are clean and dry. After thoroughly mixing the primer, use a brush or roller to liberally apply the liquid to the floor surface and allow it to dry. The average drying time is about 30 minutes. If you are fitting a Devimat underfloor heating system, you will need to create a small groove in the floor to accommodate the tube for the sensor of the heating system. This will need to be approximately 10 mm wide and 10 mm deep and lined with a section of the waterproof tanking membrane. Cut a 300 mm length of the 150 mm wide jointing tape and fold it half across its width. Halfway along the length, cut the membrane to the fold line. Begin tanking the wet room floor at the corner of the Aqua Grade. Remove the top half of the backing paper and press firmly into the corner, bonding the tape to the wall and overlapping on the floor where you have just made the cut. Remember to remove the protective top sheet to allow a secure bond at the overlap. The edging strips can then be applied. It may be helpful to cut these strips into short, manageable lengths of about 1 meter each. To join sections of the membrane, there must be a minimum overlap of 75 mm, and the protective top sheet must be removed from that area. Once the tape has been applied to all the edges, strips of joining tape are applied to the floor to create an overlap for the main membrane sheet. Measure the width of the sheet of tanking membrane and mark a guideline for the edge of the jointing tape. Apply a strip of jointing tape using the same method as before. When applying the main roll of tanking membrane, it is easiest to first set out the sheet without removing the backing paper, in order to establish the position of the waste outlet. Ensure the edges of the membrane are pushed up to the walls and using the heel of your hand, press the membrane firmly over the waste position to create an indent on the underside of the membrane. Then take the 10 mm spacer ring or height adjuster ring and mark the position using a pen and cut along the outline to create a circular hole in the membrane. Remove the protective top sheet from the jointing tape and apply the membrane sheet in gradual manageable steps, peeling off the backing paper and smoothing out the sheet as you go. Repeat the process, butting each length of membrane sheet together. Dress the membrane into the floor drain base component, pressing firmly to ensure a good seal. Remove a section of the protective top sheet and then apply solvent weld solution to the outer face of the center ring of the base component, taking care not to allow solvent cement to come into contact with the membrane, as this will cause permanent damage to the membrane. Then apply some solvent cement to the inner face of the clamping ring you removed before starting the installation. Slide the clamping ring onto the center ring of the base component, pressing firmly to securely clamp the membrane in position. Ensure the clamp finishes flush with the top of the tanking membrane. Seal all joins and junctions of the membrane using the sealing compound provided. If you have any pipe work that penetrates the membrane, you will need to seal around the pipe using the putty provided. Please note, should any minor damage occur to the tile-safe membrane during the installation, it can be rectified using the repair putty supplied. The installation of the Aqua Grade system is now complete. If you intend to fit underfloor heating, you can now begin the installation. IMPI recommend that you only use the DeviMat 100 heating system over the waterproof tanking membrane, as other systems may reach temperatures that could damage the membrane. Installation of the DeviMat heating system will vary depending on the layout of the room and the position of the thermostat. The start and finish positions of the ends of the mat should also be carefully considered before installation. Apply the DeviMat gradually a section at a time, carefully removing the protective top sheet of the tanking membrane as you go. And when you reach the edge of the floor, simply cut the mesh, taking great care not to cut the red wire, and turn the mat. Peel back another section of the membrane top sheet and repeat the process over until you have covered the required area in DeviMat. Maintain a minimum gap of 50 mm between the loops of wire to prevent overheating. The sensor and tube should be placed in the groove you created earlier. The room is now ready for tiling. Take the height adjuster ring and tiling frame and set it into the floor drain base component. Remember that for tiles 16 to 26 mm thick, you will need to fit the frame to the 10 mm spacer ring. Set the edge of one of the floor tiles alongside the drainage outlet and rotate the tiling frame height adjuster ring, increasing the height until the top edge of the frame is approximately 4 mm above the edge of the tile. This is to allow for the bed of tile adhesive. Using a marker, note the position of the height adjuster ring in relation to the base component. You can now remove the height adjuster ring tiling frame and apply solvent cement to the contacting surfaces of both the plate and height adjuster ring. Set the ring back into position, carefully aligning the marks, and hold securely until the solvent cement has bonded. Once set, the frame can be rotated independently of the adjuster ring if required. It is possible to use either large format or mosaic tiles on the Aqua Grade. But remember that when using tiles larger than 50 mm square, it will be necessary to create a mitre or envelope joint in the tiles from each corner of the Aqua Grade to the centre of the drainage outlet. This is to ensure that the tiles follow the preformed gradient. Apply the tiles using a flexible 1-part cement-based tile adhesive. Do not use polyurethane or epoxy-based adhesive or grout. Do not use a ready mixed adhesive.